Once upon a time, in a small town called Rivermore, surrounded by green fields and dusty roads, lived a man named John. This was a quiet place where days passed gently, and nights carried the soft glow of lanterns. Most people believed Rivermore would never change, but John's life was about to prove that even the smallest town can give birth to the greatest lessons. Now, John wasn't born brave. His bravery was shaped by life. As a child, he was curious and full of questions. He believed the world was fair and that good things happened to good people. His father, a humble carpenter, used to tell him, "Son, life is like wood. Sometimes it bends before it breaks." John didn't understand those words back then, but one day he would. When John was just 12 years old, his mother fell seriously ill. The town doctor did everything he could, but their medicine was limited, and hope slowly began to fade. One cold evening, as rain tapped gently against the window, John sat beside his mother's bed, holding her hand. She smiled weakly and whispered, "No matter what happens, believe that life has a reason." That night, she passed away. The house that once echoed with warmth fell silent. Jen's father tried to stay strong, but grief slowly consumed him. Within 2 years, John lost his father as well. At the young age of 14, John stood completely alone in the world. The people in Rivermore felt sorry for him, but pity couldn't fill an empty heart. He learned very early that life could take everything away in a single moment. He would often stare up at the sky and ask, "Why? Why would life do this to me?" There was no answer, only the slow passing of time. John grew up faster than the other boys in town. He worked on farms, repaired fences, and carried sacks twice his own size just to survive. Every night, he'd return to a small rented room, exhausted but unbroken. Deep inside, John carried a dream to leave Rivermore and build a truly meaningful life. He wanted to prove that loss would not define him. Years later, John had saved enough money to open a small repair shop. He fixed tools, bicycles, and broken furniture. The shop wasn't big, but it was his, and for the first time in a long time, John felt proud. People in the town admired his honesty and his incredible work ethic. Slowly but surely, life began to smile at him again. And then, without any warning, life decided to test him once more. One summer evening, a powerful flood hit river. The river overflowed its banks, drowning fields and homes in its path. John rushed to his shop, only to find water tearing through everything he owned. Within hours, his shop was completely destroyed. The tools he had saved for years, the dreams he had built with his own sweat and tears, they were all gone. John just sat on the muddy ground, staring at the wreckage. Something inside him shattered. He didn't cry. He didn't scream. He simply felt empty. For days, he avoided people. He avoided hope. He whispered bitterly to himself, "If everything happens for a reason, then this reason is just cruel." One evening, while walking aimlessly near the riverbank, John met a stranger. He was an elderly man with kind eyes and worn-out shoes. "You look lost," the man said gently. "I am," John replied. "I've lost everything. Again." The old man smiled. "No, you've only lost what was temporary." John frowned. "Then why does it hurt so much?" "Because growth is painful," the man answered. "But pain means you're changing." Those words stayed with John long after the stranger walked away. Weeks passed. One day, the town council announced a massive project to rebuild Rivermore. They needed people to help restore the damaged homes. John volunteered. He worked tirelessly, repairing roofs, fixing doors, and helping families put their lives back together. And in that process, something unexpected happened. People started to look to John for guidance. "You're so strong," they'd say. "You never give up." John realized something remarkable. Helping others was healing him. His own pain was slowly being replaced by a sense of purpose. As the rebuilding continued, John started teaching the young boys in town the skills he had learned: how to repair tools, build furniture, and work with patience. One boy once asked him, "Sir, why do bad things keep happening?" John paused for a moment. Then he smiled softly. "Because life is teaching us lessons we can't learn when we're comfortable." Those words surprised even him. Slowly, John began to understand. Every loss had prepared him for this role. His pain had given him empathy. His failures had given him wisdom. The flood didn't just take his shop. It washed away his old life to make room for a new one. Years later, Rivermore held a ceremony to honor John for transforming the town. He stood before the crowd, nervous but incredibly grateful. "I once believed life was unfair," he said, his voice steady. "But now I understand. Life doesn't take without giving. Sometimes it breaks us so we can rebuild something greater." In the crowd, John noticed an elderly man with familiar, kind eyes. It was the stranger from the riverbank. The man smiled at him, gave a slight nod, and then disappeared into the crowd. And in that moment, John finally understood. Some people come into our lives just to remind us of who we are meant to become. John rebuilt his shop, and this time it was larger than before. But it wasn't just a business anymore. It became a training ground, a place for lost souls, just like he once was. Standing there one evening, looking over the town he helped save, John whispered with gratitude, "Everything happens for a reason." This time, he didn't question it. He believed it with his whole heart. The moral of this story is that sometimes life removes what we love, not to punish us, but to guide us towards something greater. Pain is not the end of the story. It is the beginning of transformation. So, trust the journey, especially when you don't understand it yet. Your greatest purpose might be waiting just on the other side of your greatest pain. Thank you for watching. If this story resonated with you, please share it with someone who might need to hear it. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories that inspire and uplift. See you next time.